They're doing everything they possibly can. In the process, they're going to take down and try and take down the Attorney General so that nobody will believe him. I got him news for him. They're going to believe him because he's credible, he's done what he said, and the Democrats are just still desperately searching for a reason to paint and smear this president.
That's the Republican from Georgia, House Judiciary Committee member Doug Collins, accusing Democrats of unfairly criticizing the AG and the president. Some lawmakers argue the Mueller report laid out a roadmap for impeachment, despite the conclusions of Bill Barr on obstruction. So there was about a 90-minute conference call last night among Democrats in the House. Andy McCarthy, now former assistant U.S. attorney and a Fox News contributor. I want to get through three things, Andy. Good morning and welcome back to our program here. Just give us, I think this kind of gives us a roadmap for what's coming up now in the month of May. They want Don McGahn to testify, the former lawyer for the president, on the 21st of May. What do they hope to gain from that, Andy? What's the end game?
Bill, they want to go after obstruction and potentially on witness tampering with respect to McGahn, growing again out of Mueller's report. And the thing to focus on here is the fact that no crime was committed and no crime was found by the report does not mean that Congress can't find that obstruction happened. In other words, the standard for high crimes and misdemeanors or impeachable offenses is basically abuse of power, dereliction of duty. It's very different from whether you can prove, or whether a prosecutor can prove proof beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. So they're different analyses.
Okay, here's the statement from Jerry Nadler. Mr. McGahn's a critical witness in many of his alleged instances of obstruction of justice and other misconduct described in the Mueller report. His testimony will help shed further light on the president's attacks on the rule of law and his attempts to cover up those actions by lying to the American people and requesting others do the same. In the meantime, you got the push for the financial records, taxes. I think there was a deadline today that will likely come and go. Can they be successful in their pursuit, Andy?
I think it's going to take a long time, Bill. Generally speaking, Congress is not there to conduct criminal investigations. And when they seek taxpayer information and financial records, they don't seek it at particular people because they're not like a grand jury. They get taxpayer information without like name and identifying information attached so they can look at it for programmatic purposes and legislative purposes. The difference here, I think, is they're using the guise of an investigation to see if the president violated the emoluments clause and trying to call it oversight. So I think what you're going to find is they'll issue a subpoena and make more information demands. The White House will say no, and it probably gets kicked to the courts.
Okay. All right. Then on the Republican side, what happens to the dossier, Andy? When do we hear about that or its fate?
I think we hear about the dossier, Bill, in the next 4 to 6 weeks. The report of the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, will be coming out. Attorney General Barr has already said that'll come out in May, latest June. I think the fact that already we're seeing in the media the press trying to walk away from the dossier, the Times did it basically over the weekend. I anticipate we're going to hear some very unsavory things about the dossier and the FBI's reliance on it in the Inspector General's report.
That'll be interesting. We just heard Lindsey Graham said there would be a stampede to impeach. Now, you've read the reports, the readout on the 90-minute phone call last night. What was your take on that, Andy?
Bill, I've always thought from using the experience of the 2008, 2012 presidential cycles that even though impeachment happens on the Hill, the real energy for it and the real trajectory of it that we're going to see is going to be out on the campaign trail. The base wants Trump impeached, even if the mainstream of the Democrats in Congress may not think it's a good idea. And they are going to pull the presidential candidates in that direction, which means you may get a stampede toward it.
Okay. Andy, thank you for that. Some weeks that will be interesting in the offing. Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you again later in the week. Thank you, Andy.